Welcome to Module 8, and this week we're looking at Chapter 7. This chapter considers the ethical issues faced by public managers, focusing on the fundamentals of ethical deliberation, administrative responsibility, the moral and ethical problems that may arise for administrators in public organizations, and the importance of providing an ethical climate in a public or non-profit agency. Emphasis is placed on the ability of the administrator to understand the context in which public problems arise and to work out these problems in a careful, reasoned, and ethical fashion. As part of this discussion, the chapter elaborates on tensions between efficiency and responsiveness as ethical dilemmas experienced by the public administrator. The authors begin by defining the terms morality and ethics, noting that although the two are used interchangeably, the distinction between them is important not only for philosophical reasons, but also because of the deliberative aspect of the ethics. The authors argue that by understanding the context in which action occurs, working through the arguments on all sides, and arriving at a set of guidelines for action, public managers can act with greater clarity and confidence. Thus, the steps of ethical deliberation are discussed in detail. This discussion includes an examination of the predominant moral philosophies or approaches to deciding on the proper course of action, the levels of moral development through which individuals pass, and the variety of approaches one might use to help ensure he or she is acting in an ethical manner. The focus moves next to issues of administrative responsibility, which involves the potentially conflicting demands on the public manager to operate as efficiently as possible while being fully responsive to a wide variety of stakeholders. This tension between efficiency and responsiveness, the authors argue, characterizes many of the problems that public administrators face. This includes an examination of the limits on administrative discretion, which involves the question of how we can ensure that administrators exercise discretion in a way that is consistent with the will of the people. As part of this discussion, the authors explore the classic Finner-Friedrich debate over external and internal controls on administrative discretion. This section also addresses ethical arguments for public participation and transparency in government and explores the ethical issues associated with the increasing involvement of our for-profit and non-profit organizations in the delivery of public programs. Next, the authors turn to the kinds of ethical problems that may occur in context of work or in public organizations. This includes an examination of the relationship between public administrators and elected officials, which creates a unique and pervasive set of issues for the public manager. As part of this discussion, issues of organizational authority, particularly that of following orders, are addressed. Another area of potential ethical difficulties for public administrators that is addressed is that of conflicts of interest. As the authors point out, finding out ways to avoid conflict of interest has been central to ethics legislation in all levels of government for decades. The authors trace the history of this kind of legislation at the federal level, referencing details of how recent presidential administrations have approached this issue. The section closes with an exploration of whistleblowing for employee disclosure of problems in public organizations and the prohibitions defined by law on political activities by civil service employees. The chapter will conclude with a consideration on how managers can promote more ethical behavior in public organizations. This includes formal controls such as rules and regulations and codes of ethics, more informal means of establishing an ethical climate such as leading by example, valuing ethical behavior, and encouraging free and open communication throughout the organization.